Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Reading with Callie and Journal Squad. And today we're going to be reading a scholastic book written by Linda Ford. It's called Santa S.O.S. So it says, ho, 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 where did Santa go? Let's take a look at the back of the book. Santa's missing. For most kids, Santa Claus is just a guy who comes down their chimney once a year. But he's much more than that to Nick and Marcia. He's their grandfather. So when Mrs. Claus calls to say that Santa's disappeared, Cindy and Marcia head to the North Pole to start their search for Santa. Did Santa lose his directions? Did he have sleigh troubles? Are Donner and Blitzen playing a joke? Who knows? But if Nick and Marcia don't find Santa in time for Christmas, there won't be presents for anyone, naughty or nice. So it's a scholastic book. Alright, so we're going to read the first couple chapters. So actually right here, the contents. Chapter 1, Santa disappears. Chapter 2, more bad news. Chapter 3, and the police thinks it's a joke. Alright, so I think we're probably going to read the first 2, maybe 3 chapters. Let's start reading and let's see where we end up. And then we'll continue in a different video. Alright, so chapter 1, Santa disappears. I'll never forget the day Santa Claus disappeared. It was early in December and I was at my parents' flower shop getting ready to make some deliveries. My twin sister Marcia was there too. I'd been delivering flowers for a couple of years now. In September, Marcia had asked if she could do it also. Absolutely not, Dad had pounded the kitchen counter to make his point. But Nick's been doing it for 2 years. That's different. You mean Nick's a boy? Well, Mom had joined the conversation. It is different for boys and girls, dear. That's medieval, Marcia proclaimed. That's the way it's going to be in this family, Dad declared, which didn't make any sense considering everything, but it made him feel better to lay down the law. He and Mom stayed firm, too, so Marcia was stuck. They let her work in the store, though, and she developed a tidy side business on her own. She decorated the shop Christmas tree with red velvet bows. She called them maroon. Lace and other dried flower junk. A brainstorm had hit her in October to offer decorator Christmas trees. Incredible as it seemed, she'd already gotten 12 orders, and this kept her dashing to the craft shop for more ribbon. Talk about old-fashioned, I told her while she was making lace angels. So what? How are you going to convince Mom and Dad you're all modern and independent while you're doing stuff from the 19th century? I don't have to prove anything. She was probably right about that, but I still thought it was funny. You'll be laughing out of the other side of your mouth when I get through, she smirked. I'm going to make at least as much on Christmas trees as you do on tips. No way. Want to bet? She asked. $10 says I make more, but it has to be real profit. You've got to take out everything you spend on lace and ribbons and junk. Well, you have to take out everything you spend keeping that bicycle going. Done. We shook hands on it. After I'd thought about it for a while, I was sorry. Marcia's good at everything that has to do with Christmas. Good thing too, since that's her career choice. But in the meantime, I'd have to pedal my legs off to beat her. Anyway, that's why we were both at the store when the call came in about Santa Claus. Dad put down the receiver and I noticed his eyes were kind of glassy and he was totally silent. That was a first. Dad had always had plenty of words for every occasion, even the time I accidentally knocked down the emergency brake and the car rolled into Samsonville Pond. Finally, he mumbled, Santa's missing. Mom's chin started to wobble. Then she clenched her teeth and swallowed hard. Mom gets misty-eyed over sentimental stuff, but she's pretty tough when there's a crisis. I gulped and suddenly felt sick to my stomach. Ha ha, a raucous voice made me jump. It was Stanley Stinko Jones. The sneer on his face made my skin crawl. What's the problem, Mr. Martin, he drawled. Did your Santa Claus crash his sleigh? None of your business, Stanley, I corrected myself at the last minute. Dad didn't like it when I used Stanley's nickname. Well, I might be able to help you, Stinko said, putting his elbows on the counter and looking face to face at Dad. Even though he was in shock, Dad automatically moved back. Stinko hadn't gotten his name for nothing. His breath could stop a truck. The way I see it, he continued, if you need someone to play Santa here at Fantastic Flowers, just rent me a costume. I know that routine. Believe it or not, Stinko could probably pull it off. We were in the same class at school, although he was a year and a half older. They said he'd been sick as a baby and didn't go to school till late. Even so, most 12-year-olds couldn't do Santa. Stanley could. He was really big and he was really lazy, which was the only thing that kept him from being the school bully. So he just flapped his mouth and was a general pain in the neck. His dad was a school janitor and played Santa at the mall every year. After kindergarten, I refused to have my picture taken with Stinko's dad. Bad breath runs in that family. Stinko hung around the shop a lot. He knew I made good money on tips and he wanted in on the action. I don't know why he bothered. If there were deliveries I couldn't handle, I always called in my best friends, Jake and Matthew, but he hung around anyway, and we ignored him most of the time. It was like he wasn't even there, which is why Dad had slipped during his conversation on the phone. Usually, he's very security conscious. We'll call you if we need you, Mom managed to tell Stinko. I think you better go on home. With an elaborate shrug, he oozed out of the door. What do you mean, he's disappeared, Mom demanded. I don't know, that was the message. Now, it was a good thing that Stinko thought we were talking about a hired Santa Claus. If he'd realized we were speaking about the real thing, he probably would have called the police and had us locked up in the loony bin. After all, who still believes in Santa Claus when they're as old as Mom and Dad? For that matter, who believes in him when you're 10, like Marcia and me? Stinko doesn't know the facts, and he's not ever supposed to know the facts. After all, Santa Claus is the real family business. Chapter 2. More bad news. You see, Santa Claus is my grandfather. Like I said, it's a family business. When Granddad wants to retire, my father will take over. I should have been next in line since I'm the only boy in the family. My parents didn't have the good sense to have more than one son. Instead, they had Marcia and me, and then 3 more girls. They're happy, so I won't complain anymore. Well, not as much as I used to. Anyway, I was supposed to be Santa in the future, except I want to be an oceanographer. Oh, an oceanographer. Not that the family agreed with my career choice. I even went through apprenticeship Santa training last summer. It was a disaster. I get airsick, I'm allergic to reindeer, and besides, we hate one another. Can I get the next page going or not? Oh my gosh. Let's see. There we go. One another, especially Donna and I. I don't get along with the North Pole staff either. Like the time I tried to computerize the office and they all went on strike, they got the best of it. Granddad hates computers as much as they do. Added to that, I'm lousy flying the sleigh, and I'm scared of heights. My only qualification is that I'm a night person. Dad and Granddad aren't. They hit the sack early. Forget the milk and cookies routine for Santa Claus. Granddad needs coffee, strong coffee. It turns out that Marcia's good at everything I'm not. So after some arguing, everyone agreed that Marcia could be Santa after my father. She's an incredible sleigh pilot, even better than Granddad. But now, Granddad had disappeared. This is not like my grandfather. He's predictable. He's always on time. Actually, he's always early. Something was really wrong if Grandma didn't know where he was. Could the sleigh have broken down, Mom asked. Maybe that's it, I agreed. I was lying through my teeth. Believe me, that sleigh can't break down. It's the most amazing piece of technology I've ever seen. My great-great-great-great-great-grandfather invented the anti-gravitational system back in the 1840s, and we haven't had a malfunction yet. Except I could hardly say that to Mom. It would scare her even more. That's probably what happened, Marcia agreed with a firm nod. You know, the sleigh can't possibly crash, but there's a lot of small things that could ground it for a little while. And remember that Granddad's no good with a screwdriver. He'll have to wait until a maintenance crew can get to him. I sure don't envy them. He'll probably be foaming at the mouth. I was impressed. Marcia's voice was so cool, I expected to see icicles dripping from her lips. Mom and Dad believed her, but underneath I could tell that Marcia was plenty worried. The bell tinkled as the door was opened by a customer. May I help you, Mom asked. She sounded almost normal. Quietly, Dad told me to finish my deliveries and get home by 5:30. Grandma was going to call and give us the details. Dad, Marcia said, I'm going to go with Nick. Sure, he mumbled and turned to deal with a second customer. Marcia helped me load the flowers into the cart attached to my bike and then followed on her own. What do you think? She asked as soon as we were at earshot. Can't tell until we know more, but it doesn't sound good. It can't be the sleigh, she asserted. You don't need to tell me. I kept wishing the thing would break down last summer, and it never did. It's built too well. We finished the delivery in record speed. At 5:25, we raced into the driveway and up to the office where we kept the North Pole phone. There wasn't anything wrong with the sleigh. Granddad had taken the team out for a little exercise. The reindeer had eaten too much for Thanksgiving dinner, and he'd figured they needed to get in shape for Christmas Eve. They had headed in the direction of Chicago. The team came back to the North Pole. Granddad didn't. All right, so let's continue on. Let's read chapter number 3. Chapter 3, and the police thinks it's a joke. I'm going to the North Pole, Daddy announced. Me too, I added. Count me in, Marcia said. Mom looked like she wanted to say the same. Don't be silly, Grandma said over the speaker phone. Marcia and I made a face at each other. We'd be left at home twiddling our thumbs without a thing to do, but Grandma surprised us. There's nothing you can do here, Nicholas, she continued. My dad's name is Nicholas, like me, but she usually calls me Nick, or sometimes Nicky. Marcia and Nicky should come. But Mother, Dad started protesting. But nothing, she told him firmly. You've got responsibilities at home with the flower shop and the other children. She had him there. Fantastic Flowers couldn't close down at this season, and Mom couldn't handle it alone. I'll tell you what you can do, Nicholas, Grandma said. You take Nicky and Marcia to the plane in Chicago. Then you could check around for any information that might help. Well, okay, Mom, Dad replied, obviously relieved that there was something he could do. I knew how he felt. Mom phoned the airline for tickets to Norway, where our charter service would pick us up. She managed to get us on a flight, leaving mid-afternoon the next day. Marcia and I parked while Dad went to fill the car with gas. If we started right away, we would get to Chicago by midnight. We'd check into a motel and then stop by the police station in the morning. Yes, the woman at the counter of the police station seemed to be in a hurry. My father's missing, Dad told her. For how long, she sounded? She sounded like she took 1,000 missing persons reports every day. Maybe she did. A day and a half now. He was traveling in the Chicago area where he disappeared. She raised her eyebrows. Perhaps he just extended his trip. Oh no, Dad exclaimed. He's missing. He'd never just leave his vehicle. I mean, You found the abandoned car? What's the license number? It isn't, I'm sorry, ma'am. I stepped forward and said, my father drove all night and he's pretty tired. The thing is, my grandfather always checks in on time. He never let my grandmother worry like this, so we know something must have happened. Is there anything you can do? All right, his name? Nicholas Martin. Age? 57. Dad managed to say. He probably felt as foolish as I did. We couldn't exactly tell the woman that Granddad flew a sleigh and that the reindeer came home without him. Here, fill out this form and turn it in, with a picture if you've got it. There were a lot of questions, some about us. And some about him. Dad bit his lip when he came to the part about what clothing his father was wearing when he disappeared. So, the woman said when she read through the form, he was wearing a red winter suit with black boots. Does he also have a long white beard? She seemed to think it was a joke. She was not amused. No beard, although he might have been wearing a fake one, Dad's voice trailed off at her icy stare. Look, mister, I'm sick of this joke. Every year someone thinks it's oh so funny to make a missing person Santa Claus report. You're a little early, though. We usually hear from you jokers closer to Christmas. It's not a joke, really. It's just that, believe me, mister, it isn't a joke. Filing a false police report is serious business. You're wasting police time and you could be charged with a crime. It's not a false report, Dad gasped. Come on, Dad, Marcia said, grabbing the form. She told the woman, we'll get back to you later. In a way, I could hardly blame the policewoman. We couldn't tell her the truth, and the parts we could tell sounded awfully fishy. We spent the rest of the morning calling hospitals. One said that they had an unidentified man who matched our description, so we rushed over there. But it wasn't Granddad. You know, Marcia said on the way to the airport, I'm almost sorry we're the ones going to the North Pole. You'll probably get a call saying Granddad's back, and we won't know about it because we'll be on the airplane. She didn't sound very convincing. Still, I kept hoping she was right and there'd be a message waiting for us in Norway. There wasn't. All right, we're going to continue on next time with chapter number 4. It's called What I Didn't Know at the Time. All right, hope that you enjoyed our journey to Christmas. We started this Santa S.O.S. book, and it's written by Linda Ford, and it's a scholastic book. We just read the first 3 chapters, so we're going to continue our journey next time. All right, so remember to subscribe to the Callie and Join Squad. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Smash that thumbs up button. Share with friends. And then comment down below what you want for Christmas. And until next time, peace out.